I don't remember if I've done this yet, but I'm going to create a new Trainz 2019 route and merge the old Springfield, Ohio route with it. This will hopefully fix the problem with the crossings refusing to work correctly. Though, I mean, they were working in Trainz a New Era, and even new crossings that I make for the route don't function correctly on the first try. A lot of times they only work if you've restarted the computer, but I don't have time to keep doing that every time I want to start a railroad crossing, so I'm going to try this method. It usually fixes problems of crossings not working in Trainz 2019. Okay, so I have merged the old Springfield, Ohio route with a new Trainz 2019 route. This will hopefully fix the glitches. First I have to delete the one that has the same name. Make sure you don't delete the one that holds the data to the route, because that would be a big mistake. Now I gotta do a quick inspection to make sure it saved everything correctly. Alright, let's look at the crossings. Oh yeah, by the way, on TRC crossings, I keep forgetting this, but on TRC crossings, when you merge a new route, they all get reset to 0, so you have to rename them in order to reprogram them. It's really annoying and tedious. The game did not save these tracks where I laid them. In fact, this is a similar problem to the one that I had on my Norfolk Southern Lehigh line route. Look at that, it laid that track several meters away from where I laid it. Now I'm gonna have to relay all of this track. Another annoying and tedious glitch to deal with in this game. You know, for a game that costs $70, you'd expect at least most of it to work correctly, but apparently not with this company. I mean, if I had bought a PlayStation game with this many glitches in it, I probably would have returned it by now. But it's a little late to return this game. I've had it for over a year. Alright. I don't really care about laying them exactly where they were because I don't have time to do that anymore. If it's just gonna lay the tracks not where I laid them, then I just don't want to be bothered with it. So I'm just gonna lay them approximately where they were. Maybe I'll correct it later on. Okay, that track is for the most part where I laid it, except for that spline point, which for some reason, inexplicable reason, mind you, it's all the way over there. Now, I'm actually probably going to need the ruler to figure out where that track was, because I don't remember exactly where I put it. See, this is why I don't work on this route that much. These glitches drain me so much. I don't know why this route has so many glitches in it. I've had other routes that I built on Trainz a New Era, and I brought them to Trainz 2019, and they worked just fine. In some cases, I had to create a new route to get them to work correctly, but in this case, even after that, the route is still glitchy. So anyway, I need to go back to Springfield, Ohio on the map and use the ruler feature to figure out where the tracks were laid, because I can't remember exactly. I had laid the tracks as far as the Mad River, which appears to be the western border of this town. It's kind of hard to see where the rails are because of the train on this track, so for this, in this case, I just pretend that the rail is on the edge of the train car, even though technically that's probably not completely accurate. Alright, now that the tracks are approximately where I had laid them, let's see what's wrong with this railroad crossing. The one that the gates, against all odds, actually went down on, but the Cars did not stop. You know what's funny? The cars stopped perfectly fine at the traffic stopper in surveyor mode. The one time you don't need them to stop, and then as soon as you go to driver, they just ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. I would appreciate it if the glitch worked in the opposite way, where the cars actually stopped at the traffic stopper in driver, but didn't stop in surveyor. Like, why do they even stop in surveyor? You don't need them to do that. Alright, this fog is getting on my nerves, so I'm going to reduce it a little bit. And I'm also going to change the default time from any time other than 10, because it's always 10 o'clock when I do this route. So let's try to mix it up a little bit. This time I'm going to use a train from one of Norfolk Southern's predecessors, the New York Central system. Alright, simply starting a new route did not work. So, let's see. What I'm going to try now is I'm going to get this traffic slave, attach two of them to these traffic stoppers. Because for some reason, even though the traffic slave that's in between them is on, and it references that it's attached to the two traffic stoppers, they're not receiving signals from it. So it's either not activating, or I don't really know what the problem is. So I'm going to put these traffic slaves on the ground. I'm going to attach them to the traffic stoppers as well as the slave trigger, and hopefully one of them will send the message to the traffic stoppers to turn them on. In other words, if one of them fails, hopefully the other one will act as a fail-safe and make it work anyway. I'm not sure, but this is just a test, so let's see how this works. Okay, attaching additional traffic slaves did not work, so make sure the controller is on, which it is. It is on. Okay, I tried putting another one on the ground and putting it on the same channel. And I'm also going to, let's see, these are on channel 10 too, so they are working. And they're set to a 4-trigger system. I have 2 other triggers for this crossing that are also set on a 4-trigger system. And I checked them earlier. They are working. So, let's try this ATLS controller. Let's see what happens if we try to place both of them on the same channel. Maybe if one of them doesn't tell the traffic stopper to work, the other one will. So let's try. I don't think you can set them on the same channel. It used to be that it would let you on older versions of this game, but it literally will not let you do that now. So you can't really get past that. It's in the scripting. So setting up 2 controllers for the same crossing will not work. Probably wasn't going to work anyway. What else can I try? That's for a different crossing, which also did not work correctly. Okay, that one's for 10, and it has a 4-trigger system. I really don't know why the traffic stoppers won't work. They work on other routes that I have, but not on this route. It's as if the game just hates this route for some reason. And it wants, for some reason, for it not to succeed. I don't know what's wrong with this game. I don't know what's wrong with this route either. Okay, I have an idea. Let's put a bunch of these things on the track and put them all on the same channel and tell them all to turn this traffic stopper on. Maybe if one of them refuses to do it, one of the others will turn it on. Okay, so problem solved. If you want the crossing to work, put a bunch of slave triggers on the same track and reference them all to the same channel and crossings. Now, this is another crossing that not only did the cars not stop at it, it didn't even flash, even though the slave trigger is referencing the traffic stopper and the flashers. So, let's put a bunch of other traffic slave triggers on this crossing and have them all programmed to reference this crossing and see what happens. Alright, the game is doing that thing where it takes a literal millennia to save it. So let's see how long it takes to save the game this time. Okay, it has been trying to save this route for 6 minutes, and now it's doing a database repair. Ah, the database repairs. That thing that you can never escape no matter what, no matter which installment of this game you're playing. This reminds me of that Windows 10 meme that would go, I will find you and I will update your computer. Only in this case it's like, I will find you and I will repair your database. Okay, I've never gotten this error message before. Apparently it failed to save the changes. It says something about there not being enough disk space on the computer, which is not true. That's a lie. There's plenty of disk space on this computer. This is literally the only thing installed in this computer besides the video editor and the screen capture device. There's no way there's not enough disk space unless this game uses literally a terabyte of data somehow. Got to love how the traffic will stop in Surveyor, but not in Driver. The TRC traffic stoppers are working, but the devices are not, because for some reason, when you start a new route with the same data, it remembers the settings for the traffic stoppers, but not the devices, so you're gonna have to rename them in order to reset them. It's annoying and tedious. So yeah, as I was saying, you have to use the property tab and click on every single device and rename them. Sometimes though, if you were using a route that was on Trainz the New Era, some of the devices won't work on Trainz 2019, so you have to replace them. For example, none of the 12 by 24 inch side lights work at all on Trainz 2019. So, your only option is to delete every single 12 by 24 inch side light and replace them with a 12 by 20 inch side light. Why? Who knows? No one knows. The only answer I get when I ask this question online is a very vague one saying that the script has to be updated. And it looks like the 8 by 12 inch side lights do not work either, because even after naming it, this one will not be recognized by the controller at all. Another thing that does not work in Trainz 2019 is any cantilever that has more than one set of lights. Why? Who knows? This is a 12 by 24 inch side light. It will not work in Trainz 2019, but works perfectly fine in Trainz the New Era. because the script has to be updated, I guess. I mean, that's the only vague answer I get whenever I ask why this won't work in Trainz 2019. So that's the only answer I can give anyone if they have any questions as to why it's not working. But the only one I can use is a 12 by 20 inch one. It seems to be the only one whose script does not have to be updated for some reason. Which is weird because I thought they all worked on the same scripting. So why would the script need to be updated on some of them and not others? This time we're going to ride the train.